Hi everyone. So I'm finally feeling good. Last week I ended up getting a cold. My daughters ended up getting a cold. We got them tested for the Rona, and of course, they came back negative. We've gone through this before where any kind of sniffles, the school wants you to check them for that. So I've had one child tested twice, both negative, and I had another child tested and negative. So yeah, and I've been tested negative. So it's just colds, we're just dealing with just straight up standard colds. So they got sick, they were out for a few days, and then I ended up getting sick, and I came down with, coughing and sneezing and blowing my nose. And now I'm finally getting over like the coughing phase. I'm still coughing a little bit, but not as much. And my voice is coming back, where before my voice was like going hoarse. So there would be like no way I could film. So I'm glad that I'm feeling better enough to where I could film this. So anyways, I didn't do a lot of reading because of being sick, taking care of sick children. Now my boyfriend's sick, so it pretty much goes around the apartment, when one person gets sick, we all get sick. So the first book I ended up reading last week was Forbidden Daddy by Kelly Myers. This has been on my Kindle for like a little while, and I finally got to it. And so this is the characters of Cynthia and Nate. So I gave this spice rating a 3 chili peppers out of 5. And I gave this book 4 stars. I did enjoy it. So we do have content warning for, there is light daddy kink in here where she calls him daddy. If you're not into that, you may want to skip this book. It's light. It's not like too much. And then there also is a surprise pregnancy. So if you're not into surprise pregnancies, this will be another book you want to skip. So Cynthia is in her last year of college, and she has spent her college years being very responsible. She's a very responsible person. Probably how I would be in college, very responsible. She doesn't really go out to parties and things like that. She studies like really hard and tries to get really good on her tests because she is studying to be a doctor. She wants to go to medical school. So she basically has to do her how many years, you do in college, a regular college, and then you go off to medical school and, however else that takes. I think it takes like 7 years, something like that, to do like medical school. So you can at least become a doctor. And then of course, all that other stuff that it entails. So, so she's in New York, but she's more in like somebody laughing hysterically outside my window. She's like in, I'd say maybe like a different part of New York. I mean, New York is not always, it's not all New York City, There are parts of New York that are suburban, So she's in more of a suburban area going to college. And so after she gets out of, graduates from college, she wants to go to New York City to go to medical school. So Nate is in his 40s. She's like in her early 20s. He's in his 40s. And he's been like kind of like her landlord for like how many years? He owns the apartment. I'm going to say it's like apartment. It's probably like a small apartment unit. So he owns this apartment unit like next door to his house. He owns his house and he owns the apartment. And so he's kind of been like curious about her for like a few years. Like he's been seeing her like, kind of going back and forth. And if she needs help with something, like he helps her like, if her water tank goes out, he gotta, obviously go in and fix it. So he's kind of like, kept more casual with her, of like talking and things like that. Not really flirting, but, he's attracted to her. He thinks she's really pretty. And he kind of wanted to make his move. He wants to really make his move before she graduates because he knows that she's going to go off to medical school. And so he's kind of like, he wants to like buckle down and kind of, you know, make his move. But he's not sure if she feels the same way. And then, she's really shy, she's attracted to him, but she's like really shy, like, I don't know, like he's older, he may not be interested in me, type of thing. So, he was married when he was really young, Nate. And it didn't work out for him. He tried to make the marriage work, but it just, within a year, they were just, not, not suiting each other. This is why it's like, for some people, it's like, you may think you want to get married young, but sometimes it doesn't always work out. So it's kind of made him like once bitten, twice shy kind of thing. And so now he's more of like, he wants to have more of casual flings, things like that. He's had like other women that he's kind of slept with off and on, and it's not really anything serious. It's kind of just something where he can kind of scratch an itch, So he decides, well, maybe, they can kind of have a little fling kind of thing, And so one day, her water heater goes out and she doesn't know how to fix it. The pilot light probably went out. That's usually what happens with water heaters, is like the pilot light at the bottom, usually, either bottom or top, usually like will blow out, and then you got to relight it. So in order to get that hot water going. So so he goes to her place and they kind of like flirt a little bit, and then they end up sleeping together. And so it was their romance. It was cute, because I will say, like, I've said this before, I'm not a huge fan of romances where the hero is like much older than the heroine, because it just seems like you're taking advantage. But for her character, she seemed very mature for her age. She seemed very mature. She kind of had to grow up very quickly when she was a teenager, because her father had, I can't remember if her father passed away or her father, no, I think her father left. Her father like split. He didn't want anything to do with the family. And her mother got sick. Her mother ended up getting cancer. And so she basically helped treat her mother like throughout the cancer and stuff. Her mother survived, so it's nothing sad. Like, it's nothing like her mom died or anything. So don't worry about that. But her mother, got better and, kind of like go out and, go and does stuff, things like that, to kind of like, pass the time, when you're single and all that stuff. So, it's made, what's her name again? Cynthia. It's made Cynthia really like very, protective of her mother, where she worries about her and things like that. So she's always like calling her mom to make sure she's checking up on her, make sure her mom is okay. So she's very mature for her age. So that's the one thing I could say about this character, is I'm like, I accepted, I accepted it, between them two. And the other thing is, with the daddy kink, Cynthia was very much a by the book, strict type of person. So she was very wound tight when it came to like her going to college and, doing all that stuff. So when she's in the bedroom, she wants to kind of like have someone else take the reins, And so that's why she's more of the submissive and, accept, calling him daddy and things like that. And he was like, oh, it's like, not really anything that he was like tried before. So he figured, he'd, okay, accept the whole, her wanting to call him daddy kind of thing. But it was cute. I really did like this romance. But like I said, there is a side where it's a surprise pregnancy. So that happens in this book. And I will say that that's not always my favorite, especially because it's like, you should be responsible. But I will say, like, both of them in this aspect did not blame the other, because sometimes that happens with romances where one blames the other, like it's your fault, type of thing. Especially like if it's a guy and he's blaming the woman, like, well, why didn't you use, birth control or whatever? And it's like, why didn't you use a condom? So yeah, it happens, it takes two to tango. So, but at least with this, both were like, we messed up, they both were like, oops, we messed up. And when she had told him that, she was, he was like, happy, he was like not, angry or anything. And he was just like surprised because he fell for her, So it was cute. It was a cute, it was a really sweet romance. And at the end, it was really sweet. I just was like, yeah, I really liked the last part of the book. It was really cute. But yeah, that one I gave 4 stars. I did enjoy that one. But I will say it's not necessarily one I want to, it's not a daddy kink is not really my, it's not really something that I go out and looking for. So the next book I ended up reading, this one here, I've been trying to read my physical copies. So I ended up getting this not that long ago at Barnes & Noble. I wanted to try out Jill Shalvis because I've never read her before, even though I have like how many of her books? I have like how many of her books? I have like, I think 3, 4, or 5 are on there. I need to get to them. I'm not sure if I'm going to anymore, but I don't know. We'll see. But this here, I would say Jill Shalvis, from what I can get, is very much more of a cozy romance type of, there's like the cozy mysteries. This is like more of a cozy romance books. Very light on the steam. If there is sex scenes in these books, it's more of like less descriptive, things like that, more of like within one page, they're doing the deed and being done. It's not, it doesn't like expand. So I'd say if you're the type of person where you're not really heavy on the sex scenes, but you don't mind them as long as they're not like super descriptive, and you just want like a romance, this is probably, good to check out. So this one here, we have 3 stories that are all Christmas-related holiday romances. So the first one here, we have One Snowy Night, and we have the characters of Eve and Rory. No, not Eve and Rory. We have Rory and, what's his name again? Max. Rory and Max. So Rory basically ran away from home when she was like 17. Yeah, she wasn't getting along with like her family life and things like that. And something happened at school to where she split. And she finally comes back after how many years, and Max, he has been kind of working in the same building as her, like they work in San Francisco. And so he decides he wants to take her back home, because they kind of went to school together. And so while they're traveling back home, a snowstorm really starts to pick up, and they're kind of like stranded at this motel for like the night. And he's got a dog. The dog's cute, dog loves her. And so they kind of like are confronted with past things that happened at the school and things like that. And so she's, basically trying to make it up to him for certain involvement that she was in with when it came to at the school. And this is their romance, basically them like confronting each other and realize that they liked each other. Even like when they were in school, they liked each other. Her friend that she was friends with, and this is why I don't have a lot of female friends, because there are women who are like this, who, they see a guy and they know their friend likes that guy, and then they steal the boyfriend, they steal the guy, So that was kind of like how it was, where she liked him first, and then her friend was like, oh, well, I want him, So yeah, trash. So So this one, the first story was cute. It was good. I don't know how to rate it. I gave the overall rating of the book like 3 stars. It was decent. So I'd say, story was probably around 3 stars. And so it was cute. And then the second one, I'd say the second story, I like that one a little bit more. This one's Holiday Wishes. So we got Sean and Lottie. Her name is Charlotte, but she doesn't like to be called Charlotte. At least when they were younger. They knew each other when they were teens, like teens around there. And then I think he had went off. Oh yeah. He had went off. She had they had went and lost their virginity to each other when they were younger. And she had confessed her feelings to him. And he was typical young dumb, where he's doesn't know how to handle those feelings. And so he kind of runs away. And so he kind of left her behind. And so he comes back and he's sees her, and he realized the mistake he made with running away. I can understand you're young and you don't know how to handle those types of feelings, so you decide maybe it's better if I just get out of the picture. Got a piece of hair that keeps sticking out, driving me nuts. That's the thing I hate about my hair, is that it sticks up. Ugh. Anyways, so it was cute. I really liked it. Because he really pursued her. Once he saw her again, he was I'm not giving her up a second time. So yeah, he was pretty much pursuing her. And this is close proximity. They kind of got snowed in a little bit. And so this is their story. And so the last one was Mistletoe in Paradise. Now this one here, I really just I was kind of bored with this one. This is Hannah and James. Now, they knew each other when they were younger. They kind of grew up together. And then they kind of flirted with each other. And then things kind of didn't work out. His brother ended up dying. I think his brother had a heart condition or something like that. It was an unknown heart condition. All of a sudden he just, dropped. And so she had kind of moved away from that, they didn't really connect anymore. And then this is kind of they were a little stranded, her stepdad ended up purposely stranding them together. And so it was they're on this boat stranded for a little bit. And so it was fine. I'd say it was less enjoyable than the other two. I did like the other stories better. But it was fine. So yeah, this here is I'd say I give it 3 stars, and definitely it's really light on the steamy scenes. So if you're not really into too much steam, you really want more of a light steam, this is probably, and they're, short stories, 3 short stories. So you might want to check those out if you want to. But I am deciding to try to continue on with, I have how many Christmas anthologies, so I'm really wanting to continue on with the anthologies. The one I'm going to read, or I'm going to try to read this week, is it's a historical romance that's got 3 novellas in it. And that's one I had gotten last year that I never delved into, that I decided, you know what, this year I need to delve into it and just get to it, And then, yeah, hopefully I can get through that. I'm reading an alien romance. I don't know how I feel about it right now. I'm not I guess maybe I got to get 50% into it to really see if I really like the book or not. Because right now I'm yeah, it's fine. But there's some scenes in it where I'm I'm not really liking. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with the book or if I'm just going to DNF it, because I've often done that too, where I'm I'm not liking this book, so I'm just going to DNF it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to probably be busy this week, so I'm hoping I can at least get to at least 2 books this week. We'll see. because it is getting close to Christmas and I have to like pick up stuff, you know, I gotta go to the store and get like last minute things and, you know, make sure that I have stuff for dinner for Christmas and all that stuff. So yeah, I have to do all that stuff and prepare myself for the holiday. So yeah, hopefully I can get to 2 books, but we'll see. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to start coughing right now if I don't end this video. But yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be safe out there, and I will see you all on the next video. All right, bye.